Hello and welcome to the Pioneers of the Great Awakening, where we have beautiful people from all walks of life, awakened people that have faced their demons, gone into the darkness, found their treasure, and they've made it out, and now they're sharing those gifts with the world. They tell us their story. Storytelling is the most ancient medicine that we have as a society. It's incredibly beautiful because it's real. It has weight. You can feel the presence because people have lived it. And so we got all people from all walks of life come here, tell us their story of how they went into the darkness, came out the other side. These are the pioneers of the Great Awakening. I am your host, Epiphanio, and today we have a wonderful guest, Rebecca Paris, and she is a portrait painter, Gene Keys guide, relationship and spiritual consultant, marketer, and the founder of RacingTheVibe.org, a platform for raising consciousness through self-actualization tools, holistic healing, and ascension embodiment techniques. Her deepest heart's desire is to guide others in finding their unique gifts and higher purpose and bringing people together to co-create heaven on earth. Welcome to the podcast, Rebecca. It's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, tell us something interesting about yourself that most
Mhm.
people don't know about.
Oh, I heard the one you did for Richard, so I should have been prepared for that. Let's see. Mm, I guess I don't know how many people know this, but my biggest awakening, I guess, was I was living in Atlanta and doing the normal 3D things, and then just felt my soul calling me somewhere else. And I had just this very expansive social kind of life that most people would, love to have, married to a great guy. And then just started getting this inkling that there's something more. And so that kind of, I guess it starts with my awakening. I had an experience in that I couldn't categorize as a coincidence. It was actually black magic that was happening to my daughter and her friends, and there was no other explanation for it. And I was so in my 3D world that I had no idea that this could even exist, and it just opened something up in me to say, I wonder if there's got to be more than what I'm seeing with my five senses. So that was just kind of, this might be another question that you had originally, but it really opened the door to knowing that our senses that we could perceive here, there's so much more to it than that. And there's these other things that are happening in the world that we just don't know about. So that started actually my awakening journey. And I realized that I needed to go into this huge deep dive to figure out what was going on in the world.
Yeah, it does happen to all of us. At some point, we're like, okay, it's time to wake up. Good morning. It's like,
Yes,
okay, it's like, oh my
absolutely.
God, we live in the Matrix. Suddenly you're like pulling, cables off of your back. And like,
Exactly.
watching all the pods around you. Oh my God, everybody's sleeping here. So tell us, and maybe you already said, but tell us when and what was your fork in the road that moment that really veered you, into where you've come now,
Yeah.
you become.
Well, yeah. So I was living a pretty good life, so to speak. And then I had two children, which I don't know if you familiar with the term indigos, but
Yeah, absolutely.
starseed kids that I didn't know that they were, but they were so sensitive that my whole world was rocked. Like they were teaching, I'm like, what, how did I get these two kids? What's going on? Of course, the mainstream psychological, they're going to put all sorts of labels on them. So that kind of started me veering away from just the traditional mainstream. I just had to figure out how to manage, how to deal with their sensitivities, learn about more multidimensional realities from them. So that kind of started it. And then, I had that awakening when I was on the walk, and this thing I realized was not a coincidence happened. And then something from my higher self clicked in at what I remember the moment I was sitting at my desk after this walk, and it just said, well, if a dog, the whole census thing, don't trust your senses because there's so much more. And the idea of a dog whistle came in, and if the dog can hear the whistle, but you can't. So it's still there, but you just can't sense it. So it opened me up to go, oh, my perceptions are just my perceptions. There could be so much more. So I just opened the door for that. And I asked myself two questions. One, how are all religions and spirituality throughout time? What is common among them throughout all time and space? All religions. What is a commonality? And the other question I asked myself was, how is energy between people interrelated, and how does it play off? And I didn't really know, but those two questions came in, and then I set on a journey to find the answers, and started out by doing this, reading everything I could get my hands on. One of the first things was Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins and the Biology of Belief, because I really needed to start where science and spirituality intersected, because I understood that science, I get science and that's mainstream. So if I can figure out where they connect, then I can open more into this other world that I can't see.
Yeah, I do believe that spirituality is just science we haven't discovered yet, or that people are beginning to figure it out, or that they will never be able to pin it down, because when you really go down all the way to science, you're going to get like the quantum field, and that's literally whatever. It's everything. It's like, okay, well, I guess we don't know what's going on here. It's like, it's everything, literally. So
yeah, magic is just science that we don't understand.
that's right. Yes, I love that. What's it called? It was a science fiction author that said that.
Yeah, I think it was it Spider-Man? I don't know what
No.
Marvel something.
You saw it on the Thor movie, on the first.
I think I might have seen it on the Thor movie. My son was so into the Marvel movies. That is totally awakening in themselves.
I
All
love
the Marvel
that.
movies are like, oh my gosh, here's the reality in these science fiction.
Yes, I love the Doctor Strange. The first one was so good. Did you see that one?
Yes, I did.
That was so good, and so you're feeling it. So yeah, I was talking the other day with another Gene Keys guy. We were talking about Gene Key 19, and that's the Gene Key, the shadow of codependence, the gift of sensitivity, and how that is the one that connects you so that you can perceive other realities, and actually talk with animals and stuff like that, and fairies. And so I have, like, this other woman I was talking to, she's a clairaudient, so she hears stuff, right? And I was telling her that I'm clairsentient, so I feel stuff, but I consciously kind of closed the seeing and hearing, because it was too much already, just feeling it. And so I evolved after 20 years of freaking out. At some point I evolved to turn it on and off at will. And basically what I did was get to the point where I decided I'm only going to take advice from my higher self. And I'm going to listen to the stuff that resonates, and then evaluate yes or no. Because at some point you start hearing everybody talk, and entities, dimensional beings, aliens, and it becomes crazy because everybody's got an agenda. And so you're like, okay, who, you're being like dragged to this or that direction, and at some point you're like, who am I? And so I think that happens a lot to a lot of empath, indigo people. And there's multidimensional reality, but just in the physical reality, everybody's have an intense will and pull and push, right? And so when you don't have your grounded center, just like Bilbo Baggins used to say, if you go out into the wild, if you don't keep your feet, there's no saying where you're gonna end, So you definitely have to really learn how to turn it on and off this thing. That's a big thing that happens to a lot of empaths, that just being dragged, and then you lose yourself, and it's awful.
And that's what's happened to her, really. She was being pulled. She's so sensitive. She was taking on other people's energy, and she didn't really know what was her. So she just was she was just flowing along and not, thinking what that other person wanted was what she wanted. And she's now finding her center, and yoga really was a key to help her find herself. So
Yeah, a lot of the
But I
journey
was
has
the center before she found herself. I was the one having to ground it in and, guide because she couldn't, find her own.
so that was for you. Now that was for her, but for
Mhm.
you, it was like, as the mentor, as the parent, as the guide, like that was the training for you to actually be able to guide.
Yes,
So now you because
absolutely.
of that. So what was the lesson that you learned out of all this stuff that you experienced?
Basically, the bottom line is that martyrdom is not a form of love. You think it is not.
Oh,
It's,
that's good.
you think you're doing the right thing and that's all you know how to do is to be the rescuer, to be there, to take it on. And then you realize that you've lost all self-love. And my lesson, I believe in this life, is to learn self-love
That's
and to
everybody's,
not
yeah.
be the rescuer and not feel like I have to save everybody and not hold it down, not have to hold it down for everybody. And it's still unraveling for me. I mean, every day I'm still working on not, taking on everybody's stuff and feeling so responsible. Like I've got pain in my neck, my shoulders. So I just carried the weight of the world because of my children. I felt like I had to just hold them up, and I probably wasn't allowing early on them to do the skin knee thing. And I was trying to move the boulders away because I could see these sensitive kids and I knew that I could handle it. So I just took on more and more of their life so they wouldn't have to fall because it would hurt so much. It would hurt me. And what I realized is what I was just trying to avoid my own pain. Through them, there was pain that I was feeling that was my stuff to work on. So that was my biggest lesson is getting out of codependency. And it's taken a while to unravel that, even though, because once you unravel, then the other person really has a hard time because that's all they've known how to do. And they count on you for all that. So they feel like you're abandoning them.
Wow.
But
Wow. Oh,
yeah, so
so
it's
at some
about
point,
martyrdom.
after that, you decided to just let it go,
Yeah,
and then
I'm every
your
day is a work in progress, but yes, I mean, I still need to support, feel like I need to support, but I'm really having to literally push them out of the nest. Even at age 26 and 23, it's still, daily calls and, really trying to get them to think for themselves. You know that they have their own power, and that is the biggest gift I think you can give your children or anybody is to help them realize their own power and their own authority, and that they don't need to come to me. Like as a guide, I just want to help empower people find their own selves and not keep looking to me. Just to know that they have it in themselves, and sometimes you need to point the way, but.
absolutely, absolutely. So, what keeps you up at night? What troubles you, Rebecca?
Mm. Let's see. Well, I guess just the the spiritual war that we're going through right now, and just the pain that humanity is feeling at a collective and an individual level. And there's the people who are awake that know really what's going on from a spiritual level about the political environment, the all of the so-called natural disasters, and then the people who are just being the pawns in there and not understanding that they can choose what reality, that they can choose their own reality bubble, and just the fact that there's not enough information out there for people to even know. The media and everything is not giving you really too much of a choice until you somehow get the light inside yourself to wake up and start looking and seeing. um, so that pains me, is to see so much suffering going on because of the shift and the awakening.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was on that one for like 20 years, because I learned about the stuff in 1998, 96. I learned in 1996. So I've been carrying that cross for a long time. And at some point, I felt like I couldn't take it. I'd say, God, just fucking kill me, man. I can't stand this shit. And I felt like I had the sword on the throat against the corner. And I said, it was like, okay, I want to die. And then I relaxed. I surrender. I'm like, oh, I'm still here. You know, like in a moment, I'm like, oh, I'm still here. So that gave me, it was, I don't know how to explain. My words are just too little to explain the depth of what I experienced in that moment. It was a relaxation, total surrender to God, to the connection, to the divine journey as soul, right? And
Yes.
and then, I mean, still I had to, the last 4 years have been like the major test, like, okay, well, you gotta be focused on that timeline because look where it's going. And so now things are going good. Good stuff is like, yes, mainstream media is shit, but it's collapsing now. Why? Because X started, allowing all opinions. And so
Mm.
one outlet of the social, you know, distribution totally collapse everything else because their whole lives and the whole story they can't stand because now everybody's posting videos. What happened in North Carolina? Everybody putting videos up there, and then the news not saying, "Oh, it's not happened." Yes, it is happening. People are saying this is a mess. This is a catastrophe, and then
Right.
people are knowing. So it's like you might not see it, but it is happening. People are waking up, and it is happening fast, and it is exciting. Really, there are a lot of people that obviously, they need a big kick on the teeth because it's coming. I mean, it's like when you with the whole thing that happened here with the election right now, a lot of people, went like, "Oh my God, what happened?" That because they were following a stream of the news, and
Yeah.
suddenly when they realized, well, that was a lie. Here is the truth, and you realize more than half the country actually, who knows, even more, actually want this. And what is it that we want, right? Sovereignty, freedom of speech. We don't want nobody to keep like messing up. And then you start seeing the alliance. You got, John F. Kennedy, which was libertarian, alliance. Then Tulsi Gabbard coming all the way from hanging out with Bernie, going all the way. So it's like a big movie. You're just like eating popcorn,
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's like what's happening here. But I think that most important at a spiritual level is relaxing and understanding that this is just surface stuff. The
Exactly.
real work is relaxing and trusting and love. That is the answer. In my opinion, what I see that ultimately relaxation. So,
Yeah.
Rebecca, what is your vision for humanity's future?
Mm. I guess finding their own sovereignty is the absolute most important thing, to give up feeling that they have to place their authority into any system, the medical system, the government, the pharmaceuticals, the educational system, to take back their sovereignty and know that they are the expert, that it's all within them. They don't have to follow this homogenous track to go to college and make the money and do the slave system, that they can actually create their own reality. And then once you become your authentic self and you bring more and more of your higher levels in, and then you see these communities like the Gene Keys community and us connecting, then it's just these beautiful fractals coming together just to create, you know, just seamlessly, in the synchronicity. And so that's what I would hope, that people find their sovereignty, get their own reality, and then just be their authentic self so they can connect to the right group of people to just create heaven on earth.
It's so true, authenticity. And I'm really seeing it out there. Like people want authenticity. Like if it's not authentic, we don't want it. People are stop caring about overproduced videos and stuff like that. They want raw. Tell
Right.
me the truth. And that's what everybody wants, just authenticity. So this is an awakening. And I see it on mainstream, like even like on just social media, TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. People want the raw stuff, real, authentic. It's very, very exciting. So, what are you doing right now to contribute to your vision?
Well, with my friend Becca, we created a course called Awakening to the Real You, Navigating Our Multidimensional Reality. So it just put a lot of heart and soul into that. We created it, we just launched it this year. It's an online subscription. You just go at your own pace, but it really starts awakening people to what is this reality, and it's understanding the holographic reality, that everything is really light, sound, and cymatics, the geometry And you're the consciousness projector. So your reality, your consciousness is projected here. And your subconscious and your emotions are what is creating your world along with the other people. So, but you have so much more control of your reality than you think. So it's explaining the holographic reality as simple as we can. It's talking about the miraculous human body and how it is not what we're led to believe, that, the DNA is so much more, and because I believe it's the antennas to our consciousness. And when we put that junk DNA, which is not junk DNA, and we can start coding that, we become our authentic selves. We become our avatar, our 12th dimensional being, when our DNA can start coding again. So we talk about that, and just really the 12, we believe there's 15 chakras or more, not just the 7. There's in the body, and then the morphogenetic chakras. How we must come into balance with the masculine and feminine to get to the 0 point, and the giving and the receiving, and and how we're often stuck in one aspect. Like, I think my life, I was more stuck in the masculine because I think I was so wounded in the feminine that I just was out there and wanted to control. Control is one of my things. Actually, my gene keys, my attraction field is control to authority to valor. So I've been getting all sorts of lessons about control. But yeah, balancing the masculine and the feminine. Then we talk about the divine versus the organic matrix versus the false matrix. So we're living in a blended reality. This whole course really talks about how the ego is the navigator of the false reality, and the divine self is the navigator of the organic reality, and how you can tell the difference, how you can tell what you're living in. And we use examples like movies like Free Guy and The Matrix. I actually wrote an ebook on The Matrix Unraveled to just decode all of the stuff in the Matrix Resurrection movie. That's on I think you could get that on my website, raisingthevibe.org. Just download it for free, because I was so enthralled with that movie telling us really everything we needed to know about, how you're in the matrix, how we stay trapped, and then how to escape the matrix. So, and then we talk about ascension tools and embodiment, and so much about your choices that you make every day, and if you're in alignment with your God self, and that can give you different forks in the road to navigate, and even down to your physical detox and how important parasite cleanses are. So it's all of that. And so we break it into really 4 sections: the holographic reality, or the multidimensional reality, the miraculous human body, the blended reality, and ascension tool. So that's what we've got out there right now, that we felt like we just really did it more, as a service to the awakening population that really wants to get really deep into it.
Beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, what do you think we can do to inspire unity among the different groups of the awakening movement?
Yeah, that is a great question, because I found that so many even real spiritual groups are very polarized. I'm a part of a group now that is very much women empowered, which is great, but my take is more that it can't just be the women empowered, that we're not the victims here. Women, it's not, the patriarchy has been a terrible situation for all of us, but it's not the men who are doing it. It's just the group of controllers that have created this whole scene. So I think it's getting people to open up their lens of perspective and just get out of the tribalism, like of the women who are bashing men, getting out of that and being able to have that larger view to say we're all human. We are here to integrate as a species, not as a segment. And the part of the problem is we've been so segmented into these tinier, smaller and smaller and smaller groups that we feel like we have to be diverse, and it gives us identity. And that's the opposite of what really needs to happen. We need to pull those groups together into unified as a species, and as the collective, because divided we fall, united we stand. And my life's work is unity, and my culture is unity, and I am here to neutralize the opposites, instead of take a side of like, I'm on the good side, because that's what a lot of the trap is with these spiritual communities, is they're all about the love and the light, and they're here, but by doing that, they're actually creating a polarity with, if you're on the light side, well, somebody else has to be on the dark side. So if you can say, I'm not taking a stand, I'm going to neutralize them into see all is God, all is divine. We just need to make it not so polar, into
Oh my God.
non-duality.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Do you have the GT37 too?
I don't think so, which I know the names more than the numbers. What's the 37?
That's the equality, right? That's the movement from weakness, which is the unbalance of male and female polarities, the good and the bad, right? So you equalize it, depolarize it, create that 0 point, opens up the doorway, and so you rise another consciousness of vibration. So you're no longer on the swing of the polarity of the game of the power struggle. So
Exactly.
that's so true. That's my life's work. So I've been contemplating that for a long time. So I kind of like that's exactly what you're saying. It's definitely just everybody's got a part in the play. This is a game we're playing in this reality.
Right.
It's a story, it's a book, right? So everybody's got a character to play, and so you
Exactly.
understand there's a reason for the villain, right? Now there's a reason for the hero and the mentor, and all but you are the main character, the hero, the heroine of your story, right? And
Right.
so it's absolutely so true, because I do see it a lot, the polarization, and that's exactly what creates the subversion and collapsing of society. You start creating this black versus white, woman versus man, and the transgender versus everybody. You know what I mean? The whole thing, and then the kids don't even know who they are because now it's a mess. But you realize all of that is focused on the image, on the body, on the look,
Mhm.
on the personality. It's not what we are. We have no face, we have no bodies. These are these vehicles we're riding, these bio machines, right? So when we look in, we are the light of creation. We are the spirit of God, the children of God. And so we go beyond that separation. There's no separation. There's just, remembering we're playing a game, and it's so important because I do see this polarization is really, it's a step towards, at some point you're like, okay, well, I mean, seriously, we're just sharing the planet. Can we just, it's okay to disagree on something. Let's just don't kill each other for it. It's like if you're mature enough, you can have that conversation. And I think we are evolving, we're maturing, because we haven't killed each other completely. I mean, there's some explosions here and there of war that's obvious, awful,
Right.
but we're still here. And because you look back, I mean, there have been prophecies since the 80s that, convergence, the harmonic convergence, the 2012 explosion, the volcanoes were going to start, all of this stuff we've been hearing for 30 years and maybe more. We've been shifting timelines and dodging the bullet, kind of like Neo, like it's like,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And we're here, and I'm very, very excited. Rebecca, what is your favorite quote?
That's a good one. I do love, I think, I'm not sure, it might be again from the Marvel movie, but I think it was Spider-Man. With great
Yes.
power comes great responsibility.
Oh, I love that one. That's
It's like that's one
absolutely.
of the good ones. And Richard has some great quotes. Richard wrote us some great quotes as well. But I feel that so deeply because that's definitely in my gene keys. I have all these number fives in my gene keys, which is the leader, I have this alpha mentality, and I feel like as my human design is a ego authority manifester. And the whole work is how you use your power. And I've got this control stuff. So that's really important for me, is to understand, in these other lives or whatever, that we might have misused power, but how, because we are such powerful beings. How do I use my power responsibly for everyone? So
Oh, I know that one. I know that because as you become multidimensional, you start feeling your parallel lifetimes, and you start seeing the assholes you've been and the murders and all of it.
it
Oh my God, it's freaky. And so
is.
you really have to be very loving and very, very caring, very kind to yourself, and say, well, that was another me in another lifetime. And because of that, now I know what is to be that, and then I've also know what is to be the one under the boot. So I got the full circle, and now I don't want to do that to others. And then you start becoming more gentle, more kind, more. You realize more. Oh my God, I'm being an asshole. Okay,
Yes.
tone it down. And that's beautiful. That is you becoming more loving and more respecting because
Mhm.
you're seeing the other people as you. How would you like to be treated, right?
Absolutely.
Very,
And it's
very
interesting
true.
you said about your life's work and about the balancing the two. So I don't have that 37 per se, but my evolution key, which is a number 1, which is the prime masculine. And so my life's work is the 2. What really should, as Richard said, it should be backwards. It should be the feminine first, but however they have it in the I Ching. But so it's really totally balancing the prime masculine with the prime feminine. And my evolution or my life's work, or what, not the core. The core and the
Ooh, the core.
vocation is 6, which is conflict to peace. So you see the triangle, as a Gene Keys person, you see the triangle at the top. You have the feminine, which is my life's work, the masculine here, and then the conflict. And it's like, oh, and then my pearl, which is like the harvest when you've done your work, is presence. So it's just like, then you just can sink into that peace, the bliss, and the presence of just being without having to be any of those polar sides.
You do have the whole organization. It's the same thing as I have on the life's work because you have it in the two programming partners, right? So that evolution is really going to trigger the life's work. It is that. I mean, that is what opens the valve to God, equalizing the unbalance. Because that is why civilization struggles, because there's an unbalance and it pushes too much to one side and it flips to the other side. Like there was the push of the masculine, the patriarchy. Now the women are on the other side and they don't want to have connection. And now it's off balance. So, and it is not that transgender agenda, that subversion also. I don't have anything against transgender people.
Right.
That's a choice that the adult can do. The problem is the pushing of the children. That is a fucking problem. And so that is creating that unbalance again. But I believe that all of these things we see out in the world, this world shadow, gets fueled by our own individual shadows as the little tiny batteries that we are within the matrix. We're fueling with our shadow. When
Yes,
we become aware and own and love our shadow, we cut the supply to the matrix. And then they're no longer getting
absolutely.
our little shadow. That's how they feed off of that. And that's what sets the
Right.
timeline.
And so many people are waking up. I see it so much, just the people who would have never understood energy work or open to some of the things I'm saying. They're like, oh, I see now. And it's just it's so heartening to just see the people who would have never believed any of this to just like, oh, I see. Because I think all of the machinery and all the things are being taken down, and that plasma light is just coming in and it's just transmuting. It's just coming out. And but a lot of people are having to go through many dark nights of the soul, and it's so hard, especially if you don't understand it. But the light is going to be so worth it. It already is. I already feel the joy coming more and more in my life from doing so much of the inner work. And that's what it is. People, until you realize that it's really up to you to do your own inner work, and that's what creates, heaven on earth. Everybody's trying to do
Beautiful.
this service work. You start out, and I did this as well. Like you wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to tell everybody about it and change the world. And then, I created this website, I created these groups, and I'm out there serving. And then I just kept getting more and more energy flowing. It's like, no, you just go inside. You do your own work, and you don't have to convince anybody of anything. And I love what Richard said in your interview with him is, you can speak these heresies if you want to say, but when you let go of the outcome, and they can believe what they want to believe, but I can still speak my truth. That is beautiful. And letting go of the outcome is probably the hardest thing that people have to go through, because you put all this effort into it, and then you want it, and you put this good work, and then it doesn't happen like you want, and then it just can be crushing. But if you can just live a little bit like skating, like surfing on the waves, just lightly, and just like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work, let's go on to the next thing. That's really the key. It's having the attitude is really the key to your whole life, is how do I deal with the adversity every day?
Yeah, because ultimately you realize that it is your life. You're not here to change, or you can't change anybody. This is in fact, that's the control shadow, right? That's all of
It
that, trying to
is.
change other people. Because why do we want to change other people? Because we don't believe in ourselves. We want somebody else to believe in us in order for this to be true. But when you actually live your life, you express your truth, you are alive, you're doing it for yourself. This is that makes me go to sleep at night like a baby, because I don't hold this shit, and I'm not killing myself holding stuff. But I have zero attachment or need or expectation, or I want for anybody to do anything with this stuff. It's for me to feel like I showed up, I put my piece of the puzzle on the puzzle. It's like I know I was there, I'm here when it happened.
Mhm.
And that changes everything. You sleep like a baby with that one.
It does. I mean, that's the key to freedom, is stop trying to control other people, because you don't have any control, and just surrendering to what is, really just accepting, or just, loving what is just at least accepting what is, to be at peace with whatever's going out in the movie out there, which is chaos.
It's beautiful. It's I mean, good movies always keep you on the edge of your seat, right? At the end, like,
Absolutely.
and it's like if it was just like, hello, good morning, you want some tea? It'd be boring. You turn it off. It's like we want the excitement. That's why we're here. So Rebecca, tell us, where can they find you? How can they get your stuff? Tell us about your coaching. And you already told us a little bit about this
Of course.
this course you have. Tell
Hmm.
us all of that. We're gonna put all of those links on the page so that you can
Great.
find, so you don't have to worry about like finding. But tell people about that stuff.
Yeah, so I think you can find pretty much everything on, well, RebeccaParis.com and raisingthevibe.org. So I have a lot of free tools out there, just anybody who's wanting to learn more about like gene keys or human design or Akashic records. I just got little blurbs and some links to understanding that. I have a whole Raising the Vibe, a whole list on all sorts of holistic healing modalities. EMDR, family constellation work, pranic healing, just like almost like it's a definition. So people like have heard of that, like emotion code or kinesiology, to just have a place like, oh, there's other modalities out there, and what are they? And I need to understand that. So there's a whole page on that. And then ascension tools are on there. So raisingthevibe.org has all sorts of resources for free. It was done as a nonprofit, just as my service to the world. And I just keep it up, and I write blogs, and you can sign up as a newsletter on Raising the Vibe if you want to hear about that, or download my book, The Matrix Resurrections Unraveled, is on there, and all my blogs are on there. And then RebeccaParis.org has all my art. So I actually am a portrait artist. I think you mentioned earlier, but I started painting portraits when I lived in Atlanta, and I've done many, many children's portraits. I'm also doing landscapes and abstracts, and got a couple things in the works. And so, yeah, RebeccaParis.com. And I have my I'm a spirit, as a Gene Keys guide, as you are. So I work individually with people on their profiles and help illuminate some of the shadows. So it can do one-on-one work. And I also do a lot of spiritual consulting on things like codependency, things that I've gone through. Adoption. I'm adopted, so I understand that whole situation. Attracting divine partnership, walk-ins, soul braids, gets kind of crazy, but I can guide people on that as well. So yeah, RebeccaParis.com or raisingthevibe.org. And then my course is listed on both of those sites. So if you are interested in Awakening to the Real You course, it's on Thinkific, but you can link to it through either of those sites.
Beautiful. That's awesome. So you hear that. That's how you connect with Rebecca.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca. It's been an honor to have you here. What a great conversation we had. And
Thank
we are awakening. Things are happening. Wonderful people like you and many others we're actually standing up and say, this is going good. We're going home right now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Appreciate you.
And thank you, all of you, for joining us for this wonderful episode with Rebecca Paris. You can find more about the pioneers of the Great Awakening on our homepage, journ.tv. That's JOURN.tv. That's the homepage of the podcast. And it is the Planet Homemaking podcast, the Pioneers of the Great Awakening. It's inside of that, it's a subset of that. The Planet Homemaking is only audio, and we cover everything about Gene Keys. We are on episode 849 right now, and you can find us on every podcast app out there. When you go to journ.tv, you can see the links. We are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and pretty much any app you have for apps. Just look for Planet Homemaking and you will find the audio podcast that also has these Pioneers of the Great Awakening sessions. If you want to watch the videos, there's a link there on that page that says Pioneers, and you can see all of the videos there, but we're also on YouTube and Rumble, and all of those links are there too. At the bottom right corner of journ.tv, you'll see a link called Support. When you click on that one, that'll take you to our support page where you can find all of our social media. We're on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and YouTube, and Facebook, and Instagram. We're on the underground also, on Telegram. We are on Rumble. We are on X and Clubhouse. All of those links are there. You can sign up to our email list. And if you need help with your story, with your journey, owning those shadows, reclaiming those leaks of attention, of power from the unconscious, bring them to the conscious, embrace that power. You can go through all of our episodes on journ.tv, or you can check out our coaching programs. Our links are right there, so we can help you with your Gene Keys journey, utilizing this amazing tool to learn how to love yourself again and live a life of fulfillment. Also, if you're very stuck in the dark night of the soul, we have a very specific coaching program for people who are very, very stuck, and you can see the link right there. If you are a pioneer of the Great Awakening, if you have a vision of the future, if you can't stop thinking about this thing, but you need help how to make it happen, bring it into the world, anchor it, ground it in physical reality, we have a specific coaching program called Life Design. Click on that one and learn more about it, how we can help you bring your vision to life. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Pioneers of the Great Awakening. I am your host, Epiphanio, and I'll see you on our next episode. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.